where you scream to watch that, watch this, and I'll dive down through this hairy flesh.
Hi, and welcome to Watch This. I'm CJ Johnson. Thank you for joining me. Australian filmmakers are definitely at the forefront of creating web series internationally. There's no doubt about that. If you've been watching Watch This for a while, you will have seen my friend and colleague Luke Eve come on the show. He's circled the world twice now, picking up awards for his two subsequent web series, Low Life and High Life. And bumping into him at some of these web series festivals around the world has been Erin Good with her web series Jade of Death. It stars as Jade Bernie Van Tiel. They've joined me on Watch This. Hi guys.
Hi. I can hear when people are gonna die. How quick or slow or painful it'll be. Once I tell you what I'm hearing, you just have to accept it. There's nothing you can do to change it.
So Jade of Death is a 6-part web series, which you wrote and directed. Bernie, you play Jade
Indeed.
of Death. Tell us about sort of where it began and how it developed. It seems to me that it followed both a traditional and simultaneously untraditional path, because in a sense, you were getting that sort of traditional development funding, you were scripting it, you were sort of going along each of the old-fashioned steps, but in this new context.
Well, when we started off, we didn't have any money, so we didn't have development funding for season 1. I was in distribution for a short film, and so I just wanted to make something else. I wanted to make something longer form and just continuously build on the work that I was doing. So I started writing Jade of Death. It was an old TV series I did, so I just turned it into essentially short form, and then took it to Taylor, the producer. And at that point, we were thinking, we'll do this totally independently. We'll just release it online. But we kept developing it, got Bernie on board, developed it further with Bernie, went into production. And through production, we had a little bit of private investment, some crowdfunding, and Taylor and I put in some money. And then we got to post-production, and we got some Screen Australia funding and some funding from Queer Screen. So it started off not necessarily the traditional funding route, but as it grew, we realised we needed more money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what brought about your decision at the very beginning of that to take it quote-unquote down, or at least shift it sideways from a quote-unquote traditional television series to a web series? Was it just so you could get it moving faster, or
it was a couple of reasons. One, I felt like I wasn't going to get the break that I needed to do longer form stuff and to write and direct television. So for that reason, I wanted to prove that I could do it. So essentially just I wanted to make something that was a series that was structured in that way. And I also knew as well, even getting my own projects up, even getting a television series up, it's a much longer process. And so, I'd spent 2 years, I think it was 2 years on the short film. And so I didn't want to spend a really long time on the next project. I wanted it to move faster. So that's why I did it.
And did you write it as 6 episodes?
It started off, I think it was 5 at first.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I expanded the story. Initially, it was just going to be set super contained in the tent, just Jade and her customers, really small so that we could afford it. But luckily, the producer said, I feel like you're limiting this story. And I was like, yeah, I am. And so I kind of just expanded it, and then we figured out how we would actually do that as we went.
Good words for a filmmaker. You're limiting yourself. Feel free to expand. So, Bernie, you play Jade of Death.
Yes.
Who is Jade of Death?
Oh, okay. So she's basically this interesting chick who has a really, really dark past, but she's escaped it just really narrowly. And she escapes off to this seedy freak show carnival place and finds an unlikely home there. And she poses as a fortune teller of death. And of course, when you go to carnivals, usually it's scamming, all that sort of thing. So people assume that, she's full of it, telling when people are going to die. But in fact, she actually can hear when and how people are going to die. And there's more to her abilities than she actually knows. And there's people who know about her that are potentially dangerous and are after her. And she's sort of traveling along in this world, not really knowing how much danger she's in and the relationships that she's got with people and how much danger that they're potentially going to be in. So she's I like this role a lot.
That was a great description of it. I was like, awesome, write that down.
I'm like, the writer's sitting right next to me. How do I get this interesting? Yeah.
No, it's a very cool role.
And how did you come about this talent?
Just lucky, I guess.
She's really strong, but she's got this strength in her vulnerability as well that I found really interesting when I was reading through the drafts of the scripts. We went through so many drafts, you have no idea. Yeah. And the more we got to the core of who Jade was, the more and more I began to find the love for her. So as you said, very mysterious, very dark, very interesting, has this weird kind of sex appeal about her. And I don't know. I think that she's just got this really cool complex where she pushes people away, but it's done out of fear of hurting people, which evidently hurts them in the process. So,
Well, it's the classic Frankenstein, vampires,
Yeah.
all those monsters who look cool from the outside. Oh, wouldn't it be cool to be a vampire? But of course, they hate it.
Yeah,
Because their thing is killing people.
yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah.
Wicked.
And so, like, her skill, her superpower is painful.
Yes, absolutely, and more painful to her than it is to most people, I think. Yeah.
And I mean, genre stuff is so great to explore concepts in a more extreme way. So that element that you guys are talking about, and that idea of being scared of what you're capable of and not knowing like what you're capable of and what you're not capable of, is just.
And
we all get that.
You managed to view yourself at the end of it as well. Yeah.
So where did you start writing from? Did you start writing from a place of genre, or with the character, or with the carnival?
It was from a place of genre, so wanting to do genre. It was because it was an idea I'd already had, so I knew that the basis of the power that she has, that she can hear when and how people are going to die.
And specifically that she can hear it.
Well,
Yeah.
it used to be
Interesting
visual.
and quirky.
This is a fun question.
Yeah.
It used
Go
to
on,
be
Erin.
visual when it was a
Yeah.
TV series, and of course that's way more expensive. So
Right.
I was like, well, we'll change it. But I love it because it feels more like organic and more natural. And
we kind of, during the process when we were going through her power and how she can hear when people are going to die and figuring out what that feels like to her and what that experience like is for her, I turned to Erin and I was like, this is interesting. I've got synesthesia. And she goes, huh, what? So I can hear sound. I can see sound. But there's all sorts of different types of synesthesia that you have. So the seeing sound is chromesthesia, which I have, and there's also kinesthesia.
You actually have?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have kinesthesia as well. So when I touch people, I know instantly what that's like, and I kind of get a visual representation of that as well. So it related directly back to the script and to the character and to what Erin's vision was as well. As we got really excited about that and started developing how we could translate that to screen in a way.
and what that feels like for Jade's character and what that would sound like when we do post-production. And that was a really nice...
It was a really fun process.
Yeah, that was
So that's cool. So you guys got to work together on the script and on the character along the way.
a lot.
It was
so
really
it was a really collaborative process,
yeah.
the whole
Like Daniel
process.
Day-Lewis and Paul Thomas Anderson with Bad Bread.
It was great because so I had the scripts and I had like early draft sort of ideas of everything, but Bernie I cast when we were going to start looking for who could potentially play Jade, and then we thought we would develop it more with that person. And I taught Bernie in a class when she was studying, and I was straight away like, she's Jade, I hope she can act.
Damn it.
And so I got her to audition, and it was perfect. I was like, yes, you're Jade. And so,
How lucky.
yeah, so lucky. So it happened much faster
That's what
than
you
I
want.
thought.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
There's darkness in your past.
But running away.
No friends. No family. Scared.
Did she match your image of Jade, or did seeing Bernie make you realise that that's what Jade was?
She matched Jade. Like,
Okay.
I mean, not the image stuff. I feel like I don't really cast from what someone looks like. I never really think about what Jade looks like.
I think
But
you
just her
kind of limit
vibe.
yourself if you do that,
Yeah, me
hey,
too,
because
yeah.
you're trying to find something that specifically
Yeah.
fits a vision. And
Yeah. But her vibe and her tone, and like I felt like I knew her, which I felt like, I mean, I knew you pretty quickly. I was like, I get you.
yeah.
Obviously, I learned a lot more, but and so it was just like her character, her personality was a really good.
So
fit
no
for Jade.
regrets, huh?
So, how are you finding this brave new world of the web series? Like someone like Luke Eve with Low Life and High Life, he sort of, I guess he's a little older than you, and to him it's like a whole new branch. Like he wasn't necessarily pursuing it, he did it for practical reasons, and now he's suddenly finding that it's completely like shifted his career and opened up this whole new career. But he's also finding that because he's on the forefront of it, not everyone knows what they're doing necessarily. It feels like pioneering. How do you feel about it at the moment?
I mean, I feel like it's slowly getting becoming a saturated market. But because I was moving from short films to web series, or we call it short form series, I realized very quickly in that process that there is so much more possibility and options with the web series. So many more distribution options. You can actually make money from it. We have an international distributor, Roxalign, so they're looking to sell it internationally. And so there's just a lot more interested in it than they are short films. So it does open up options in terms of getting it out there, which then helps the careers of everyone involved.
Yeah. Does Australia seem like, in terms of its funding bodies and in terms of its sort of infrastructure, does it seem like it really is sort of on the forefront or poised to keep going in that direction? Or does it feel kind of a bit like a flash in the pan?
Well, I mean, it's hard to know, but when I was overseas with Jade of Death in LA at the awards, it was interesting. Like there were quite a few Australian web series, and they were of really high quality, and they were winning all the awards. So it really, on an international level, I feel like we do quite well with web series, probably because of the funding bodies. That means that we stand out in that arena internationally. I would think.
Yeah. I think it's going on. It seems to me that Australia, as a sort of collection of funding bodies, has decided that this is a place to make a bet. That this is an area where we can do well, that we are doing well, and there's no reason not to, play down that path a little bit, which is great. Which is great for filmmakers because it's obviously the future. I mean, it feels to me like short films are kind of dead.
Yeah, I mean, I would not say that they're dead, but short films are a great way for people to like hone their craft. Writers, maybe less so writers, but directors, cinematographers,
I find
editors.
more often than not, short films are also being used to as concept videos to pitch for features and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like what's the New Zealand film Boy? That used to be, I think it was called Two Cars or something like that, and it was just about two Kiwi boys in the parking lot, sort of thing, and that ended up developing into Boy. So I think short films, that's the sort of avenue that people are using them for more now.
Maybe I could help if you'll let me.
Well, if you really care about Maya, you'll stay away from her.
This isn't a good idea. I know you like me.
You don't know anything about me.
I've seen the whole series, and I watched it in an unusual way, in like straight through, almost like an hour-long drama. But did you approach it as sort of 3 acts of an hour, or did you approach every episode as having its own 3-act structure?
Yeah, I approach every episode as like a television series.
Right.
And trying to make sure that there was cliffhangers at the end of each episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the story arcs that would across the whole series, but then within each episode as well.
Yeah, I mean, I read the scripts the same way that you watched it, and just going through it like they were all their own little books in a way, and just every time I turn to the last page, I go, oh, you're kidding. What's next? You know, so can't wait for the next book, you know, and you draft out the second script and the third, and yeah.
So you're writing Jade of Death 2 now?
Yes, I'm co-writing with a writer that I work with.
How exciting. Is this just the best? Because you, unlike the first one where I don't know if it's going to happen, etc., you know it's going to happen. You know your actor.
Yep.
You know, so therefore you can just go crazy.
Yeah, it's great. It's been so fun so far, like opening up the world and also knowing the actors and the characters. You know, it's great not having to introduce these characters. We already know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun to start from that point because all the other projects I've done, you know, you're starting from scratch each time. But there's so much already done.
It's crazy. We're the actors are the only ones left in the dark, though. We don't know what's going to happen.
For now.
For now.
How exciting too!
I know,
to just sit
right?
around and wait
I
for the-
can't wait, though. I'm getting...
I have told you there's lots more stunts.
Yeah. When you see me, I was so excited. I was like, you're kidding, right? No, we're going to have more stunts. So...
How fun.
Do you want to know when you're going to die? Or are you the one that's scared?
Find out more about Jade of Death by searching for it on Facebook. It's got its own page where it'll keep you up to date with where you can see it online, on television, and of course with news about Jade of Death 2, which will be coming your way soon as well.